What the?
I don't watch new movies anymore. And I wish I could say it's because comic book movies are made for kids, but they're not. And I wish I could say it's because no movies can hold on to that golden age of film when it was like theater, but on film, but they can. And I wish I could say it was because I'm focused on pinko commies, but in this case I'm not. Like few movies are perfect. There was Iron Man, there was The Avengers, Superman 2, Flowers in the Attic, Elvira, The Toxic Avenger, The Brave Little Toaster. Even fewer movies were given the full $8 million treatment to cheaply execute on high and lowbrow theater at the same time for men. And it's awesome. Like, I want you to, when you watch this, I want you to watch this movie the way it was meant to be watched. It was the early days of comic book movies. Scenes were framed to resemble comic book panels. There was lots of cutaways, mostly static shots, well framed. And the ones that do move are just to keep the characters static in the frame. It has an old school quality to it. It's an old school quality of movies that were made before the French New Wave and cinema back in the 1960s. So if you watched G.I. Joe, Transformers, you'll recognize the style instantly. It's theater for men.
Do you like action? Do you yearn for a comic book movie that doesn't spawn 15 critical drinker hate-watching reviews? A movie that has more violence than we deserve? How about a movie made for kids, with gratuitous nudity for no reason other than it's awesome? Well, I have the story for you.
People have anything better to do with your time? It's 2 o'clock in the goddamn morning, for Christ's sake.
Simple and effective stories. Stories perfectly told by a director, the man who edited Terminator 1 and 2, True Lies, Starship Troopers, The Last Boy Scout, Commando, and Rambo 2, trained by Alfred Hitchcock, comes a movie that gave a kid everything he ever wanted for Christmas. But Santa had a grenade launcher. A movie that refined the genre and set the stage for Blade to refine the R-rated comic book genre.
Take that message to your people.
A movie that reminded you that the greatest villains in cinematic history were the Japanese. They had Yakuza, business wizards, samurai, ninja, spies, and karate. Communists can't even villain half as good as this. It's the pinnacle of comic movies. If you like fantastically unrealistic movies, sincerely executed, over-the-top violence, high theater, indulgent pain, and the perfect mix of mindless action and mindful characters, this is for you. This movie is your cool older brother who came home from college and brought you stories of all the hot chicks that are waiting for you. It's the peak of comic, in The Punisher, 1989.
So what is The Punisher? The Punisher is proof that you can take unserious material and elevate it. It's really a unique masterpiece, but I'll save that for later. But once you know, you will finally learn what I mean when I say you need to watch a movie on its own merits. You probably know the story. It's Frank Castle. He had his family killed by a mafia boss, almost dies himself. He turns into a tool of punishment or evil. Yeah, I've seen the YouTube movie reviews that talk about the Frank Castle origin story needs random blah blah blah. I don't care. If you haven't watched this before, here's how I show you how to watch movies and enjoy yourself more. There's just one simple trick. Watch a movie on its own terms. Not through the lens of hating your dad. Not through the lens of maybe communism will work this time. Not through the lens of making your philosophy degree make sense, you nepo fuck. It's on the movie's own terms. Now, it cost $8 million to make and it made $30 million back in the box office. No idea how much it made in video sales, but I guarantee you every kid got it stuffed in his stocking. Like New World Cinema. It's an old Roger Corman company, and it doesn't get nearly as much love as it deserves. It should be up there with the greats like Cannon and Orion. Orion, hey. Imagine a company that made Flowers of the Attic and then decided to follow it up with this. Awesome. All right, pause. I hate, and I mean I hate, YouTube movie reviews. Theater kids, champagne, socialist, commies, I hate my dad kids. The only thing I love about this movie is that the commies couldn't be bothered to watch it. Probably because they were too busy jerking off about capitalism and the Avengers to care. Thank God. And the critical drinker is so busy making 15 different hate videos on The Last of Us to care about actually enjoying good things. So blessed are us. But the nerds, the nerds got a hold of this one. The nerds, oh my God. Goofy, it's so bad it's good movies. Nerd types drive me nuts. They watch the movie and they judge it based on Schindler's List and they wonder why it doesn't match up. You don't judge a fish by how it rides a bike. You fucking nerds. You just sit there and you judge it by how much violence it can cause in a fish tank with Louis Gossett Jr. And nobody cares how good the box art is or the unsealed packaging. Watch it on its own terms.
All the way in.
For the characters, you have Dolph Lundgren as Frank Castle, a family man and a cop who lost his family during a mob hit. He lives in the sewers and doles out justice to criminals in the overworld. Not justice, punishment. Now, the thing I like about Dolph, and it's the same type of character he played in I Come in Peace, it's that he doesn't do character arcs in his movies. He is a classic serial action hero. He's the constant reinvention of Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon and Superman. The protagonist carries the story as the moral center, and that other characters around it can have their characters and have them develop through it. Louis Gossett Jr. plays Jake Berkowitz. Okay, sure. Frank's old partner, really good cops on a mission to bring him back from the brink. He's not trusted by his department. He's got the schizo board and everything. It's awesome. And then he gets teamed up with his new partner who's like Nancy Everhard. She plays Sam. She's your typical girl boss, top of the class graduate who's the only one on the force who believes him when he says Frank's alive. Jeroen Krabbe, I don't know how to pronounce that one, is Gianni Franco, head of the mob. He's one of those horrific mob bosses who also has a loving man types of characters. And then you've got Kim Miyori as Lady Tanaka, ruthless Japanese mafia boss who reflects the sentiments of the 80s. Japan is taken over. And I don't think you can understand the significance of this unless you were there at the time or your dad explained it to you well. Like Walkmans were like fucking magic to Americans listening to their record players. Sony and katanas and Toyota trucks were indestructible. The newest thing, the greatest thing. There were real fears Japan would become the new America. But hey, if you learn nothing else, learn that America can beat the commies, so it can beat anybody. And a small part for Barry Otto, who plays Shake. If you remember the comics, he would have been the character like, I think his name was Micro. Although instead of being the gadget guy, he was just a weird British acting informant character. He actually plays the Jiminy Cricket Yoda type guy. He's appealing to Frank's sense of morality and justice to keep the story going along. Almost an audience insert. So do you know why I like this movie? And it's not just because I was a huge fan of the Punisher comics when I was a kid. It's because, like, there's no character arcs in this. It breaks so many rules of good storytelling, but still does it well. They'd have, like, this neat trick they do. Like, Frank is the Punisher. He's constant throughout. Jake, his friend, also doesn't change at all. You know, his new partner, she's just along for the ride. The last time you see her, she gets punched in the face by a mob dude and knocked out and left in a truck. There's no arcs except for one. And it's the best. It's the villain, Franco. The only character arc in the film. They told a story and gave the villain a tragic Greek tragedy character arc. Like, I can't think of another movie that tried this, let alone pulled it off. If you let me know in the comments, I'd be more than happy to admit I didn't know. Like, his arc is simple, too. He's a mafia guy. He wants to reform the structure of the mob to turn it more like a corporate environment. Again, 80s influence. It causes the mob to weaken, along with the Punisher's like multi-year murder spree. The Japanese come over, see moments of weakness. They kidnap the guy's kids. They take over the industry. He's forced to hire the Punisher to help him get his kids back. So the thing about character arcs is characters will have two things, a want and a need. The want is the thing that they know, and the need is the thing that they don't know. What does he want? He wants to run the underground. He wants to kill all his enemies. He wants to beat the Punisher. He wants to raise his kid. But what he needs is to be a father. A good father. The father that his son thinks he is. And at the end of the arc, he gets everything he wants. He kills the Yakuza. He saves the kids. He gets it all. And then this is where his fatal flaw comes in. And this is the difference between a tragic character arc and a successful character arc. He ignored his need to be the father that his son wanted him to be. This causes him to try and kill the Punisher, ends up getting him killed. It's magic. It's magic. Now, watch it now that you know this, and you'll start to appreciate this movie for its uniquely executed story. That's right. No reveals, no setups and payoffs. It is a series of unfortunate events. There's no setups, no payoffs, no reveals. They don't need them. They don't need them. What they do have is a series of set pieces to give you what you want. Show me violence. Entertain me. Carry me along for a roller coaster ride of cussing, nudity, and murder, and it's fucking awesome. Frank, nihilist in the sewers, asking God to have things make sense, but he hears nothing. A news report and a flashback give you all the backstory you need in an edited couple of minutes. Very tight. Mafia guy kills Frank, beats the charge. He goes home, everybody gets murdered, the house blows up. And then you see reporters see like a 6'5" silhouette of a man. It's great. It's awesome. You see Shake, he offers him tips to find out how to move him along in the story. Again, the Jiminy Cricket, hey, don't forget to save the kids, don't forget to do this. The Yakuza go into the classic 80s mafia boardroom. Like, it's just like I Come in Peace, and I love this shit. Evil villains, whether they're mob or alien or whatever, they always run things like a 1980s Wall Street stock meeting boardroom. And I want to give a special shout out before we get into the plot of the Yakuza headquarters. Bro, the Kino on this is next level awesome. I can't describe it. I can show you some of the visuals. You can just take it in. They glaze the cool factor of Japan and they do it hard. It's just awesome. Like I said, the villain gets a Greek tragedy of a character arc undone by his own hubris. Jake elevates the material with his acting. Lewis he doesn't belong in this movie. He's that good. And there's a series of awesome set pieces, awesome violence. It's truly a unique piece of excellence. And they did it all while every character just maintains their archetype except for one. All right, the plot. Oh man. So this is going to be, I'm going to riffle through it quick. I can't do it justice. And I can't really spoil a spectacle, but here we go. First, opening credits have a 1970s TV serial duotone vibe to them. I've always loved that policewoman intro Rockford Files style thing, so I'm giving it special notice here. You just don't see this anymore. And then there's a news report. Frank's family's murderers acquitted. He gets out, warns everybody who's coming after him that means trouble. So Frank murders them all at home and blows up his house, leaving a knife calling card and a mugging for the camera. Then we get in the sewer. Frank, naked, praying in the sewer, says some cool ass shit to let you know the tone moving forward. Fuck your parental controls. Let's fucking go. A flashback of his family's murder, and then you cut to Jake, talking to reporters over the rubble. He knows Frank is alive, and while the chief tells him to drop it or he's fired, he finds a new person, Sam. She convinces Jake to take her on as a partner because she's the only one who believes them. And what I like about this scene when you watch it is you're going to see everything doesn't look like you're in a real mansion or a real set of rubble. It's all set up like theater set pieces. And that's where you're kind of meant to take this, as high theater for comic book nerds. Anyways, reporters end up swarming Franco, who laughs at the idea of the Punisher doing all this. Jake laughs at him because he's running out of soldiers. So Frank, has a little dinner thing. You meet his son, who doesn't know about any of this stuff. He's just a good kid, thinks he's got a good dad. You cut later on, Shake is in the bar getting drunk, 4 hours late to meet Frank. He gives him information on where Franco's new drug deal is taking place, and it turns out he's killed so many of the mafia guys that they have decided to team up. He can kill them all and clean up the city in one strike. So he heads to the dock, where some Frenchmen are bringing drugs over, and the mafia get ambushed by ninja. Frank's caught in the crossfire, barely escaping, but looks like he's died. So the mafia assumes he's dead, the cops assume he's dead. He barely escapes, and then he pulls a Rambo, man. He cauterizes his bullet wound with a hot knife. Next scene is the boardroom again, the mafia boardroom. Lady Tanaka meets Franco and says she's taken over the industry because they're weak and they're all going to die if they say no. Cut back to Jake doing the investigation. Sam shows off all of her cool computer hacking skills to try and track down Frank. Jake laughs because Frank's invisible. The computer's not going to help. But she notices that it follows all the sewer maps, so she gives Jake his first break in years. Turns out she is actually useful. Back to Lady Tanaka. She wants to make sure the mafia complies, so the Yakuza murder a bunch of nannies and kidnap all of the kids. You know what I love about the violence in this one? It's just random. There's some random waspy chick just like babysitting, and she gets just shot in the head. So, Shake sneaks down to the sewer, and he tells Frank about the kidnapping of the kids. Frank's happy to let the mafia kill each other. They think he's dead. He's like, I'm out. But Shake's like, dude, they're kids. All your crime has done is caused a bunch of innocent kids to get killed. You need to save them. They shouldn't have to suffer for their dad's crime. So Frank is coerced into doing the right thing. Franco, on the other hand, realizes that they don't have the power. They can't stop Tanaka. Their only chance they had was with Frank, and they think he's dead. All the other crime bosses decide to go meet with Tanaka and strike up a deal. Franco's like, no, there's no point. It's not going to work. And then you cut back. Yakuza headquarters. Tanaka is selling the kids into slavery. And then you meet her second in command. It's a hot white chick with some knife earrings. It's pretty cool shit. Meanwhile, Frank shoots up a casino, sending a message to the Yakuza. Release the kids or he's going to keep punishing them. Cost them like $5 million, which back then was a big deal. But nowadays it's like crypto bros like, I could do that in an afternoon. The next day, Frank goes to the casino. He's trying to solve the crime. He realizes Frank's probably still alive, even though everybody doesn't believe him. And then they start to think, well, maybe Frank is alive, and maybe he kidnapped the kids. And Jake's like, no, he wouldn't. He's a family man. He wouldn't do that. So the next day, Shake finds out where the kids are being held at this amusement park, and he takes Frank down there. They break in, and a whole bunch of murder. A bunch of ninjas get killed, and he eventually gets captured by that crazy white ninja bitch. So he ends up being tied or strapped to a table, and they're torturing him and Shake. They torture him for a while. It doesn't look like they want information. They just want to punish him for breaking the casino. Anyways, Frank manages to break out, kills a bunch of people, escapes. Quick change of pace. Jake and Sam are in the sewers looking for Frank. Jake lets her know why he fights so hard for this. He turns out he was like a drunk and a loser. Frank saved his life when he needed him, and he is returning the favor. Anyways, back to Frank. He steals a city bus, breaks back in, rescues the kids, kills a lot of ninjas along the way. But Franco's kid gets lost in the shuffle. He drives up to a police roadblock, releases the kids, and then the cops arrest him for 167 murders in 5 years. A good start. Jake eventually runs into him at the cell, and he tries to have a bro moment. He's like, I can help you, just talk to me. And Louis Gossett, he just elevates it here. He deserved more. Like, he's a way better actor than people give him credit for. He's really good. Anyways, Franco watches the news, sees that Frank is alive, Punisher's alive, and he's like, oh, he's got a plan now to rescue his kid. Punisher decides, yeah, I'm not doing any of this, and so Jake realizes, like, I think he's gone. He gets pretty mad, yells at him a bit. Sam ends up in the car ride on the way down to the courthouse. She manages to get through to Frank and gets him to reach back out to Jake, but before he can be saved, gets broken out by Franco. Franco breaks him out. He's like, I want you to help me rescue my son. Also, I kidnapped Jake in case you think of trying something stupid. So I'm going to kill your partner if you don't do it. So Now they have to head to the Yakuza headquarters, kill all the Yakuza, and save the kid. And save Jake. Jake, though, he manages to break out, and he goes over to the headquarters as well to save Frank. So now Frank and Franco and Jake are headed to the Yakuza headquarters. All of the characters converge onto the final violent set piece. And the final set piece is like its own mini story. Like, I don't want to give you a beat by beat breakdown. It is worth the watch. It goes slow, it goes fast, it changes the pacing. It's a lovely piece of work on its own merits. And you're not going to see like fancy flying kicks. All the fights are visceral. It's more theatric than realistic, which is way better. Plus the fact that there's so many shoji screens in there, there's just something about the Punisher walking through a wall like a goddamn tank that's just awesome. Anyways, it culminates in Frank killing that blonde bitch, snaps her neck, breaks the girl's neck. I'm like, how cool is that? And then Tanaka threatens to kill Franco's son by slitting his throat unless he puts the gun in his mouth and pulls the trigger. Frank comes in, the nick of time, pulls a Jack Burton, throws a knife right in the middle of her skull. How low pan of it. It's awesome. And then this is where Franco makes his tragic flaw. And this is how it elevates like a simple story into something better. He tries to kill Frank because he's like, now I've got everything I want and I just get rid of you and my son can run the empire. But the son's like, Dad, what are you doing? Distracts him, ends up getting killed. The Punisher shoots him. And then the kid pulls the gun on Frank. He wants revenge for killing his dad. And Punisher's like, yeah, just do it. I don't care at this point. All the evil people are dead. I got nothing to live for. The kid chickens out. He can't do it. And so the Punisher gives him a little Saturday morning PSA. It's like, look, just don't do crime or I'm coming for you. And then he leaves. Movie ends with Jake realizing he lost his chance to get back to Frank, chance to save him, screams into the thing. Ah! Yeah, dude, this film is great. It's a comic book. It's got no character arcs, it's got no reveals, but it's elevated well, and it puts enough high art in to elevate the lowbrow violence with just something better, you know? So, there was a brief period in history where men could go watch a drama without communist babble, with enough nudity and violence to keep enough lowbrow in to cleanse the palate. It's got no snarky women, it's got no theater kids, it's got no irony, it's sincere, and it's awesome. It's just men. Flawed men, competent men, tough men, men overcoming hardship, men coming out with what they needed. It's entertaining. It resonates. They took the world of comics and created novel storytelling tools that combine the simplicity of mindless action, the tension-building action in a time period with a novel villain that isn't talked about nearly as much as it deserves. Kudos to Japan, creator of Japanimation and Ninja. Not only that, but they did it in a way that was accessible to kids. You know how hard it is to sell sex, nudity, violence, and swearing to children? It's hard, and they did it. This is where we peaked as a society. Like, the themes are ordinary, presented as extraordinary. The story is timeless yet of its time. What can I say? Enjoy it, because I damn well did. Cheers, fellas.